Imagine walking into your child's bedroom, a space guarded by elite security teams and ancient stone walls, only to find a hidden lens staring back at you from the closet. This is exactly what happened inside the most private corridors of Windsor Castle, turning a routine morning into an unprecedented royal emergency. The target wasn't a state secret or a political asset. It was the personal bedroom of young Prince Louis. What started as a mother's uneasy instinct has completely shattered the illusion of royal safety and triggered an internal war over who truly controls the keys to the kingdom. Tonight, we are pulling back the curtain on the deepest security breach in modern royal history, an event that has completely shifted the power dynamics within the House of Windsor. While the public is often treated to polished statements and carefully managed headlines behind closed doors, a furious struggle has erupted. This is the story of how a single rogue device forced a future king and queen to draw a line in the sand, bypassing generations of palace protocol to protect their own flesh and blood. Let's dive straight into how the safest room in Britain was compromised and why the fallout is changing the monarchy forever. The entire crisis began on an otherwise ordinary morning when Princess Catherine stepped into Prince Louis's nursery simply because something felt off. Her eyes caught a tiny, easily missed detail, a closet door sitting slightly ajar. The nursery staff at Windsor are notoriously exact, maintaining a strict order where every object is precisely folded, placed, and repeatedly checked. Driven by a mother's sharp instinct, Catherine moved closer, opened the door, and discovered a hidden camera angled directly toward the private areas of the room. Horrified, she carefully wrapped the unauthorized device in a cloth, realizing instantly that this was no simple administrative mistake. It was a direct violation of her child's sanctuary. When Prince William arrived on the scene, his reaction was terrifyingly quiet, his anger turning completely ice-cold as he stared at the device in his wife's hand. Within minutes, a senior protection officer confirmed their worst fears. The camera had absolutely no official royal registration marks, no approval records, and was completely disconnected from the household security network. King Charles was briefed immediately and fell completely silent, a quiet reaction that sent shockwaves through the palace staff, while Queen Camilla reportedly went pale upon hearing the news. This was no longer a PR issue or a standard palace scandal. It was a parent's ultimate nightmare unfolding inside a fortress designed to withstand any threat. Recognizing the gravity of the breach, Thunvung William instantly demanded that every single access log be pulled, knowing that if Louis's room was compromised, Prince George and Princess Charlotte were also in immediate danger. The investigation quickly traced the vulnerability back to a quiet event held weeks prior, known as the Windsor Children's Trust Preview, a brief charity tour arranged to showcase the family's warmth during a period of heavy public pressure. Catherine had actually questioned the route that day, feeling uneasy as the guests passed close to the children's private wing, but she had been reassured by an aide that the corridor was secure. Now, that reassurance felt like a devastating lie, and William found himself consumed by immense guilt for not stopping the route completely. The first major crack in the case appeared when a junior aide admitted in a documented internal statement that a crucial service door near the family corridor had been left entirely unlocked for several minutes during the charity preview. A palace technician later explained in a recorded security review that this brief window was more than enough time for someone familiar with the layout to slip away and plant the device. To make matters worse, the technical analysis revealed that the camera showed signs of very recent placement, meaning it had likely only been active for a few days. Thuak had deliberately waited for the perfect moment when the room was empty, proving they possessed intimate knowledge of the family's daily routine. The quiet investigation boiled over into an intense confrontation when Catherine walked into a high-level private meeting and placed the rogue camera directly onto the table in front of King Charles, Prince William, the head of household security, and the aide responsible for the tour route. The aide attempted to blame staff pressure, timing issues, and the chaotic nature of the preview, but Catherine remained completely unmoved by the bureaucratic excuses. The tension in the room escalated further when the head of security confirmed that the device lacked any identification codes and that a vital 15-minute gap was missing from the day's access records. Realizing the traditional system had failed them, Catherine looked at the officials and demanded total independent control over her children's environment, refusing to let old palace hands manage the crisis with polite language. Prince William aggressively backed his wife, demanding emergency authority over the Wales children's residential security and bypassing the slow-moving palace committees to order immediate technical sweeps across their entire living quarters. King Charles looked deeply torn, caught between preserving the orderly, traditional rules of royal procedure and his instincts as a grandfather who had just learned a child had been watched by an unseen intruder. Queen Camilla's office also expressed deep unease, fearing that the sweeping new restrictions and staff lockdowns would expose just how freely certain aides had been moving through protected spaces. Ultimately, the king set his pen down with deliberate finality, authorizing an immediate, massive lockdown of the children's wing and stripping the traditional departments of their unilateral decision-making power. By nightfall, Windsor Castle felt less like a royal residence and more like a heavily fortified compound under siege as a specialized outside security team swept through every vent, closet, and service panel to eliminate any further threats. Catherine stayed glued to Louis's side, holding his hand tightly and maintaining a calm facade to protect his innocence, though her face filled with dread the moment he looked away. In the private sitting room, away from the watchful eyes of palace courtiers, William broke down in tears, confessing his deep regret for ignoring her early warnings about the charity tour route. Catherine refused to let the trauma divide them, reminding him that they needed to remain absolutely united for George, Charlotte, and Louis, turning their shared fear into a driving force for systemic reform. By the next morning, the private horror became a massive public storm as newspapers across Britain caught wind of a major security breach in the private family quarters, running front-page photos of Windsor's gates under the chilling headline, "Who entered the child's room?" While the official palace statement withheld the gritty technical details to protect the young royals, the public mood instantly shifted from mild curiosity to intense outrage over the violation of a child's bedroom. Crowds began gathering outside Kensington Palace, leaving handwritten notes and flowers for Prince Louis, which deeply moved the family and solidified the public's emotional judgment. King Charles realized that the crown itself was being judged on a brutal question of whether it could even protect its own blood inside its own walls, forcing a permanent and historic restructuring of royal protection. In the final internal findings, investigators officially confirmed that the security failure occurred entirely due to the unlocked service door and route deviations during the Windsor Children's Trust preview. King Charles chose to face the ugly truth head-on, allowing the staff failure to become the official turning point for reform rather than burying the report to protect the institution's pride. Moving forward, the old access structures have been entirely replaced with highly restricted family wing controls, independent technical inspections, and direct security authority handed entirely to William and Catherine. The hidden camera did not destroy the House of Windsor, but it permanently bent the ancient rules of the monarchy, proving once and for all that a child's safety will always matter more than palace habit. This unprecedented crisis has fundamentally rewritten the rules of survival for the modern royal family, shifting the balance of power directly into the hands of the parents. By refusing to be managed by a slow and protective bureaucracy, William and Catherine have sent a clear message that their children's safety is entirely non-negotiable. How do you think the palace should handle the insider threat exposed by this terrifying security breach? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you want to stay informed as this internal investigation continues to unfold, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our next deep dive into the changing dynamics of the royal family.